Hi all. Right, finally welcome back to Red Storm. Red Storm, the air war over central Germany in 1987, to give it its full title. And we're playing with the solo scenario expansion, which is Dark Blue Defection. Just doing the first scenario, NSC1, which is Red Dawn. This is part 4 of my video. I thought I would have been able to get back to get some footage done before now, but it turns out life sometimes does that. So I'm back now. It's really cold here. I guess it's maybe cold in a lot of places right now. So I'm up in my attic. I had to get a bit of heating put on, but it's still pretty cold up here. Anyway, where are we? Right, there's a lot of things to probably talk about here. Hang on. Right, yeah, I thought there was something wrong with my recording device there. Yeah, there's quite a few things to talk about, so I probably should get on because I guess a good part of this video is probably going to be me discussing some points that have been brought up. So John Brown added quite a few comments to the last video, and Howard Drigg, the designer of the Dark Blue Defection, also came in with some comments to confirm certain things maybe John had said as well. So let's go through. First of all, there was two things I had noticed that made a mistake with, and I think I made the comment in the header of the video, the last part. One was, I thought I'd got away with it at first regarding the movement of this high flight B, but looking back, I believe I did want to go and double check it again if it moved twice, but I wanted to say it was only once, and it should have been once at speed 5 rather than speed 4. So I'm just going to move that guy on 1 hex, and I think that should fix that. Now, there is a possibility he might have moved twice and he would be in this hex, but we'll just go with that one rather than me stopping and going back and double checking whatever. Let's say this is a bit of a learning. I know Howard's commented a couple of times and advised me to play through this scenario a second time. What I should have done was do this one off camera and do the second one on camera, shouldn't I? Yeah. Yeah, and I probably criticise people for doing things like this back when I started recording videos, that they didn't have a good enough knowledge of the game to sit and play it because they didn't know the rules or anything. I mean, all these games are hard to understand all the rules, but I think I've become the same in the fact that I want to get the game played and I'm enjoying pressing I find that I get the game played more thoroughly if I actually press record and record it. But because I'm doing it without great knowledge of the rules, these things are going to happen. So yeah. Okay. So yeah, that was one of the things. I don't think John made a comment on that. But the other one that I had noticed was that our F-15s have radar. Oh, actually, I did meant to check. Well, John didn't actually mention it. So my guess could be that the MiG-29s don't have. Let's just bring the card in here. And we're talking about the radar capabilities, and the F-15 do have that, and it's in that black box there. Now, yeah, so and the information in there, I did bring the data chart out, but the only additional information it shows you on the data chart here is the actual name of the radar. Sorry, I should have zoomed out there. Which is here. I'm assuming that's what type of radar it is. Wrong one. APG 63. So I'm assuming that's the only additional information you've got that's not on this card, which is just, I guess, sort of flavour, if you like. So it's got LDTS. Now, the LD is the look down, isn't it? So if it's got LD, that means that there's no look down restrictions on this. Now, if the other options could be LD with LTD in brackets, that affects look down at targets at deck or low altitudes. And there's one that could say no LD, which are subject to look down against all targets at lower altitude bands. But because we've just got LD, there's no look down restrictions. And the TS, yeah, John makes comment on that, and I did notice that one actually, John, but yeah, by all means point these things out. But I did see that one. It's track while scan radar capability, and I'm looking in the rulebook here under section 10, page 16, radar search detection. A flight with track while scan radar capability noted on the ADC. A TS notation in the radar section with an undetected enemy flight in its forward arc in the detection phase may attempt a second radar search attempt if the first radar search attempt fails. So not only does the F-15 have capabilities to do a radar detection attempt, it can actually do a second one if the first one fails. So yeah, I blundered past that part. John did say, I think you were out of range for the F-15's radar during turn 3's detection phase, but you definitely were in turn 4 and onward, whereas that's where I missed it, although I didn't think about it completely. I think maybe that's the reason it wasn't commented before, was because it was out of range. Because the range it's 25 in total, however, if you're greater than or equal to 20, if it's 20 or greater, or maybe greater than 20, whatever, you're going to get a -1 on your die roll. So obviously, if you're within 20 hexes, you won't get that negative modifier. John also says, well, two other things. He says the flight you're attempting to detect has to be in detecting flight's forward arc. But he also says, based on the flight path, that should happen naturally, and you can see that the way we are heading towards them, they're all going to be in the forward arc, so that's fine. And then he mentions the track wheel scan capability, which allows a second radar detection attempt. Can I just let that go, possibly, rather than go back and check for radar detection? Let me think here. Yeah, I just went back and looked at the video, and to be honest, I was just finishing the end of the turn with the track phase, and I think I get the feeling some of these got undetected at that time. So I'll just leave things as they are, and then hopefully pick up on this radar detection attempt now. Like I say, that does look like this has turned into just more a learning. Yeah, I definitely should have ran this one off camera first, for one. But I think the biggest gripe for that is I kind of needed to put this out here for people to look at. I kind of expected John Brown to follow along, and the fact that the designer's also looking in is good as well, because there isn't any footage out there regarding this. I mean, okay, I suppose if I had watched some of the videos that are out there, I would have seen the F-15s doing radar attempts. You know, that's nothing exactly directed towards the solo version of things, so I would have maybe been able to see that, I suppose. But however, we'll just press on rather than go into it more. Right, so that was the first thing John brought up. You'll notice I've changed my wee cubes there. I felt like the clear sort of yellow ones weren't so good, so these are my waypoints, and that's the red ones at the actual target. Okay, so now he's got timestamps here. I haven't really studied these that much, and I just made the comment at the end saying there was that much to like unpack that I'd be better just doing it, press record and talk about it. So at 11:50 it says, actually the bot solo rules say to move generic flights with the same suit in alphabetic or numeric for NATO generic flights order. That will mostly matter as the NATO and Warsaw Pact get close enough for BVR shots. Right, hang on. Let me see what's... I'm not quite sure I'm getting that. Hang on. Yeah, I see what he's saying. I'm I must have just blundered that. I think I'd already came across this one. We had two diamond flights left, and a roll between the two, but one of them was an A and one of them was a B. So it is in alphabetical order, or numerical order, as he states, for the NATO flights. So it should have been the A that moved first, then the B. It probably didn't make much difference here, but yeah, I rolled the dice to sort of randomise between the two, but I shouldn't have done that because they were both the same suit. If it had been a diamond and a heart, yeah, I think I need to roll between the two. So, okay, right, moving on. Right, this next part is something I've been getting wrong, and I did wonder about this. I'm still looking through the rules to find sort of clarity on where that is, where it talks about that, but I can't really find it, and if anybody can point me in where it really discusses this. Anyway, what are we talking about? Right, BVR missile range. BVR missile range, this is John's comment, is based on what arc the target is presenting to the attacker. And something did feel wrong about that. So, my thinking of, now our range for F-15 there are, right, what missiles is it we've got again? I forget. It's on, it's the ones that they do have 9 range. It's AIM-7s, AIM-7Ms. So the AIM-7M is this one here. Yeah, so you can see it's got 9, 5, and then 2. And where is it? Where does it discuss that? It discusses that somewhere. Yeah, on the charts regarding the missiles here, I just surely this must be in the rulebook somewhere. I mean, all that, just explaining, because all that says there under AIM-7M, a range of 1 to 9 is forward, 1 to 5 is beam, 1 to 2 is rear. It must tell you somewhere that what that means is we need to be in the defender's forward arc to get that 9 range. It's not the defender needs to be in our forward arc, and I think that's what I was seeing. So we've got that wrong, and I think John says that we're actually in the beam of these flights, which, yeah, well, you can see there. If we're just looking at flight A there, its forward arc goes, how does it go again? It goes up. Well, it goes that way. It's out that way, isn't it, in a cone? So we're not in its forward arc. Right now we've got a card that shows that. Yeah, here we go. This one. So what is it A looking at? It's looking at it's this one here we want. So flight A is like that. I'm not really showing this that well, but you can see its forward arc goes away up that way, and it's either it's not even going to be its forward beam. I don't think its forward beam comes. Right, hang on. Oh no, it will be. Its forward beam comes from there to yeah. Is it there? I think it's there. Yeah, so we are in the defending flight's forward beam. So we can only find a range of 1 to 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm one short of that as well. And bear in mind, these guys aren't detected. However, we are just going into the start of turn 5, aren't we? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I left it. We finished turn 4. So we are actually going to get some detection attempts, and we're going to remember the fact that the F-15 does have radar capabilities as well. So it might be that we can then move one hex and take a BVR attack on flight A, for instance. Again, that's assuming we get the initiative and we get to move first. Because if he moves further, we might end up in its rear beam. So, okay, so I don't think that matters. It's just forward beam or rear. So beam must be forward beam or rear beam, obviously. And then rear would be, if you just look at this again, obviously it's the rear arc is behind the flight, but we're not in that. And right, okay. Well, that's good that I've got that. Yeah, I thought there was something funny about that. So I was getting that wrong. So carrying on, the current phase, all the Warsaw Pact aircraft are presenting their beam. So you need to be within 5 hexes. The attacker always has to have the target in its front arc or be in the same hex to attack, whether BVR or standard combat. Yet another aspect of this that requires a little forethought, since getting in front of the target lets you fire BVR shots from further. Yeah, okay. You can see what he's saying there. If I had more came up and around, sort of knowing that they're coming up this way, I needed to get up and around here. Or possibly linger about and wait and then making a turn to come down there, sort of thing. I don't know. I think probably knowing that now, I still probably would have done the same thing and try and get within 5 hexes and fire at them. Get a shot in first. One of the other things that was pointed out to me, and I was going to make a slight adjustment, but this flight is at deck level as well, so I might be okay with this. But you definitely need to be at similar altitude levels to fire. I think you need to be the same or one band above. Don't quote me on that, I might have that wrong, but I certainly think we need to have similar altitude bands to, and remember all of these started at medium, but however 2 of these are dropped to deck. One's at high and one's at medium. We're both at deck, so I don't think we're going to be able to attempt anything against the high and medium flight until we, so, you know, it was hinted that I probably should be climbing a little, I think, to get up, but I might have got lucky there with the fact that there is 2 flights that are still at deck level, but we'll see. Maybe deck level's not good for try fire at. We'll find out. It gives he carries on with an sort of description of the differing range or a concession to missile range envelopes, and sort of explains why it is the way it is. I'll let you read that if you want. So, and then his final comment, well, this was the first part of the video I'd watched. Non-target flight, yeah. Hang on, let's see where I was. I remember I was trying to get my head around that one, wasn't I? Yeah, it's when I was talking about these arcs again, and in particular, what was it? This bit down the bottom. Yeah, if a target hex or target flight is on a boundary that splits the hex in half, the player controlling the non-target flight chooses which arc it falls into. So I was sort of indecisive if that meant if there was a flight in this hex here, is it the defender that's... I couldn't quite get that. I think just the way some of these things are written throw me. So let's see what John says. So he says, so non-target flight means player of the attacking or detecting or jamming flight. Non-target flight means player of the attacking or detecting or jamming flight. Section 4.3 of the rules explains it better. Let me have a look. Yeah, it does indeed. So page 7, 4.3, arcs and hemispheres. Well, I'll not read all about the arcs again, but the second paragraph says, an enemy flight or ground unit is within an arc if more than half the hex is contained in an arc zone. If an enemy flight or ground unit is on a boundary that splits the hex in half, the attacking, detecting, or jamming flight or ground unit, i.e. a flight detecting an enemy flight with radar, a flight attacking an air combat, a flight attacking a ground unit, a ground unit attacking a flight, or a flight conducting jamming. Okay. Chooses which arc the enemy flight or ground unit falls into for the purpose of the attack, detection, attempt, or jamming. Yeah. So, okay, so I've got, assuming I've got that right now, it would be the attacker that decides. So if I was wanting, you know, if it was in this hex here and it was more beneficial for me for it to be in my forward arc or my forward beam, it would be my choice if I was firing, if I was attacking, if I was jamming, or if I was trying to detect. Okay, good stuff. Right, thanks for that, John. Okay, so that was the first part of his comments, and there was more as well, so hang on. Yeah, and the next part is regarding the bot flight actions here. We were getting a bit confused by this greater than or equal to 8 and less than or equal to 7, and then I think I eventually realised that it says here if the detected enemy flight in same hex or within 7 hexes, go to engagement actions. And John had stated that before, but I was a little confused because we were told to ignore that one but not this one, but I suppose that covers that. I think that could have been made a bit clearer, but however, he goes through that, and some of the reasoning which Howard, I think, confirms this special scenario rule 3 is right throughout every scenario, and my guess is probably this one is as well. Is that right? Anyway, there's more to read about that. Yeah, I think Howard does come in and confirm this. Then talks about maneuver markers or BVR avoid markers that might set throttle. And this is what I'm talking about, the throttle, I think. Yeah, it's when I'm deciding about these primary actions in the play card. Primary actions, yeah. Yeah, but we aren't at these bits yet because we have decided that the flight needs to be within 7 hexes, I think, before something happens. However, it does point out, which is something I didn't really notice. I mean, we are meant to look at this movement phase, and then there's an arrow here that brings us across to this to tell us the primary actions. But I mean, there are some. This is where he's talking about BVR avoid markers, move markers. So what would happen here? We're going to get to that, I guess. But because they're just going along just now, and they're not, I think this 7 hexes needs to kick in, which is going to kick in this turn, isn't it? Something's going to happen this turn. So let's just get on with it, Grant. And you know, the best thing to do is read the comments fully that John and Howard are posted on the actual video chat on YouTube. He then goes on to say, just to reiterate for those playing the home game and the full, which he messaged me back, and the full solitaire rules, the player side never uses dummy flights, which I think I pointed out that it does say it in the main rules that the players don't use dummy flights. And yeah, and he also confirmed back to me that the AI, it gets 1 dummy flight at the start of the scenario, and yeah, my understanding is that's throughout all the scenarios it gets 1 dummy flight. Right, maybe I've got that wrong. But however, when that dummy flight goes away, it doesn't try and generate another one. That's it. That's all it gets. In fact, does he not? He says, while the bot side does use generic flights, some of which may be dummies, it does not generate dummy flights. So that does say some of which may be dummies, so it could be maybe more than 1. But we started with 1 in this scenario, and if that 1 suddenly comes off the map, when we eventually find the dummy, it's not going to regenerate. So Howard made some comments after that. He says, yes, special scenario 3, rule 3 is in every scenario for the entire expansion. For the entire expansion, the purple coloured non-combat actions table on player aid card 5 that's here, isn't it? That's as far as I can get out. The purple coloured non-combat actions table on player aid card 5 is ignored and replaced by the waypoint system and additional special scenario rules that tell you what range a block flight will react. In this case, it's this 7 hexes. So yeah, if you were playing the normal solo rules of the main game, yes, you would be using these rules. That's what would direct your flights. And it looks quite interesting in itself, but we're, the whole point of this is to use these dedicated solo scenarios, and I think they're going to carry us through things much better as well. Yeah, it's basically the basis of the entire bullet system for DBD. I replaced the purple table with a flight plan. The purple table makes bot flights randomly fly all over the place when there's no enemy flight within 7 hexes, and is how bot flights operate in the base game solo scenarios. Hope that makes sense. So there you go. It's maybe more a bit random if we were using this, and they'd be flying all over the place. Whereas at the moment, they're staying to their waypoints. Once these guys get within range, then they're going to react. Makes more sense. So yeah, it makes much more sense to do that way. So that's good stuff. And carrying on, Howard. The scenario is designed to make NATO approach from the beam, which is what I'm doing, yeah, okay. Hence, draw you closer to the Warzone Pack raid before you can get off a shot. Timing is key, and there are plenty of people that have failed the scenario. Thanks to a couple of bad rolls, allowing the 4 MiG-29s to react. Hopefully a lesson learnt for future scenarios. Play scenario 1 again when you finish, he says. And then, yeah, I wish I had just had a go at it off camera. Although I wouldn't have found the answers to these questions, I think I would have stumbled my way through, and I would have been thinking I was within range 9. You can see mistakes that I've made, and I would probably not have asked that question because I thought I was doing it right. And there you go, I've showed it on video, and John's said that, well, no, you've got that bit wrong, and there's been quite a few that I've got wrong. So he then talks about the dummy flights. Again, Howard, to cover the dummy flights as an example, let's say a scenario has 10 generic Warzone Pack flights. 3 will be dummy flights, 7 will be real flights. Once the dummy flights have been accounted for, there will never be any more dummy flights. Any remaining generic flight must be a real flight. Dummy flights are never generated again and are not applicable to the player's side as per the full solitaire rules, which John pointed out to me as well, which I eventually got right. And then John's comments, appreciate you chiming in, Mr. Rigg, glad I wasn't steering Grant in the wrong direction. That's it, okay, right, good. Right, let's get back to some actual action then. So that was probably about half an hour. Yeah, I kind of figured that might happen, so apologies, I'll maybe put a bit in the header, but these things need to be sorted out, don't they? Yes. Okay, so we're on turn 5, I think it is now. And yeah, just starting turn 5. So sequence of play, random event phase. 1 player rolls 2 dice. So let's do that, see what we get. Got an 11 this time. I think that's not the... Oh yeah, that was quite important, wasn't it? Because is it not 9? I want to say it's 9 and 10. Says we can't fire. 11... where am I? Right, I think that's one we have to ignore. Got to dark blue defection rules. 11 NATO QRA. So ignore the following random events. What does it say? NATO QRA. If there is a detected Warzone Pack flight on the NATO side of the front, the NATO player rolls on order battle table A to generate 1 QRA flight. Right, yeah, looks a bit a bit much going on there. Okay, we'll have to ignore that one. And I think if we ignore one, we just carry on, don't we? We don't roll again. I'm pretty sure it said that. Well, it doesn't say it in the DBD, but I think, yeah, page 40, Rule 21, random events. The final sentence says, if an event does not apply or cannot be implemented, ignore it and do not roll again. So we're going to go with that. Okay. Right, jamming phase, we don't... Oh, I meant to... Yeah, they do. The MIGs do have a radar. Yeah, the jamming bit, I came across a bit more information on that when I was reading the rules. And you can't... Alright, hopefully I'm right here. The jamming part is not about aircraft trying to detect you and you trying to stop that from happening. It's about ground as SAMs, surface to air missiles, locking onto you, I think. And it's about trying to stop that by jamming their radar detection. I think it's along the lines. So, although I was saying that we don't have jamming capabilities, that's not the case. You can see there was information about jam there, wasn't there? 3D there, so there is some stuff, but I think I'm right in saying that only comes into effect when we've got ground units wanting to maybe come at us, and we can maybe stop them from locking onto us or something along the lines. Okay, so no jamming, and nobody's mentioned any of that, so I think I do have, well, whether my explanation how jamming works or not is right. We'll get to that. I'm sure the next scenario might have a ground unit or two in it, but maybe not. Maybe it'll stick to the air for a bit yet. Okay, and so next part is detection phase, and yeah, just before we, well, you know what? We'll just go through it because the first check is the standard detection, isn't it? So let's do that first. Now, what have we got? We are... Yeah, both our flights are undetected, Cobra and Roach. So let's roll on them first. Now that's the Warsaw Pact, which is C. Yeah, so they're on the C column. So we need a 12. Now we're Warsaw Pact, we're NATO at deck. We're NATO at deck and rough, aren't we? I think this is what I was trying to keep going, wasn't I? But it might be that wasn't so clever and I should have got up a bit. However, we've done what we've done here, and like Howard says, it probably is wise if I just ran it again. I don't want to record it again though, so we'll see what happens. We'll see. I'd like to just push on, to be honest, but it does make sense running through it again. You're now going to understand how things work and whatever. So that's a -4 they're going to get because they're at deck. So let's check for, and what is it, a 12? It's a 12 to detect. So let's check for Roach first. Rolled 16 -4 is 12. So yeah, Roach is detected. So that's not good. Because I think, does it not need to be a detected flight within 7 that now changes their attitude? Is that right? Well, we'll get to it. Maybe not. And then the other one, what was it, Cobra? He's the same, got a -4. Only rolled 10 there, so -4 is 6. That's not. So he stays undetected. So that's good. And the Warsaw Pact units, we've got an A, a B, and a C. Now there's 2 of them at deck actually. They're not in rough though, are they? Oh, hang on. At deck and rough or mountain, yeah, okay. No. They're both in clear X's. The two at deck. So let's roll on the two at deck first. So flight A gets a -1 because it's a Warsaw Pact flight at deck. And this time we're checking on the D column because it's the NATO player that's checking. We've got 19 there, so that's going to be a check. That's going to be a... Oh, that's the one we wanted. Good. So I think we're looking to get the initiative here, and we might be able to get a BVR shot on this guy. So flight C, which is at deck, also gets a -1. 7 -1 is 6, so that's not detected. Then flight B is the last one. It gets no modifiers. Rolled 14, so that's enough, isn't it? Yeah, we needed a 13. So B is detected too, which is good as well, because he's another one that was near, probably nearest to us. Okay. Right, that's a normal detection then, but we still have one flight on the Warsaw Pact that's undetected and one of the NATO flights. And the reason I'm mentioning that is because the MiGs do have a radar. So, right, let's get a better look at this, how this works. Okay, I suppose a problem here could be it's only the MiG-29 that has this radar, not the Su-24 Fencer. And we still don't know what's what. So I can only assume that we're not allowed to do that. That seems a bit off though, doesn't it? Right, it says 10.22 on page 16, radar search detection. Both players may make an additional detection attempt for each enemy flight within range and the forward arc of a non-disordered radar-equipped friendly flight. Look down may prohibit radar search. See the aircraft display charts for aircraft radar ranges and modifiers. We've got the wee cards to do that. So again, that doesn't have look down. It's got a range of 12, you can see there. It's radar. And 8 plus would give a 8 plus range would give a -1 roll. So it's not got as good a radar as the F-15. On saying that, they don't have us in their forward arc, do they? Forward arc. Card 3, I think it is. Oh man, there's that much stuff in this game. Yeah, well, we've already looked and said that the forward arc is... Yeah, I mean the best is I think it runs along there and then up there, so that even the flight back here, all they are going to be outside the forward arc. However, we do have them in our forward arc. But I can only guess there though as well that because we are running these Warsaw Pact flights as the Su-24 Fencer C, it doesn't have radar capability. So kind of suggests that we can't sort of assume we can't do the check. Something feels a bit off there though, but because they're not and we're not in their forward arc, we're not going to get that check anyway. But maybe someday John Howard could tell me if I've got that right. I mean, do we still consider that these flights have this radar capability? You would think you can't, because this one's away in front, this one's at the back. We don't know which one's which. So how do you check? Okay, I'll leave that one with you guys. But fortunately, we don't need to do the check anyway because they're outside the forward arc. However, our F-15... Oh, wait a minute though. Well, do we just get one check, or can each aircraft check here? No, it's each enemy flight. Both players may make an additional detection attempt for each enemy flight within range and forward arc. Because this guy here, he's pointing up the way, so I'm not so sure I'm not so sure flight C is in his forward arc. I would say it probably isn't it? Because it's going to go up that way. It might have B in its forward arc, but that's not the one we're trying to detect. It's C. So, however, it's just we couldn't do a detection attempt with this guy and then do it with this guy on that. It's just to check on the enemy flight. However, we do need to remember that this does have the TS trial well scan, which with an enemy flight in its forward arc in the detection phase may make a second radar search attempt if the first radar search attempt fails. And regardless of how many travel scan flights you search, only one additional radar search attempt is allowed for any one enemy flight. Okay, so yeah, so it wouldn't matter if he was in the forward arc as well. We couldn't do 1, 2 checks and then because they failed do another 2 checks as well. But we will get 2 checks here because of that travel scan, I believe. Okay, right, let's move that out of the way and let's get the chart back then. Because it's got a different... for radar, where's radar? Yeah, they're along... Yeah, it tells... it shows you all the flights along there as well. There's the F-15 there, look. So this is the radar. Now... Yeah, so it's a really good initial detection. We only need to roll a 10 or higher for the F-15, so it's got the best capability there. There's a MiG-29, MiG-29, there's a MiG-29 there, so it's in the column below, but we've realised we don't. But yeah, please tell me the answer to that one regarding the fact we don't know which one's the MiG-29s yet. And with the modifiers, there were the modifiers for the normal detection there. These are for visual IRST detection. Right, not sure what that is. I know what visual is. But here's the aircraft radar searches modifiers. You can see -X, range to target, C, ADC radar entry. And that's the fact that if we're going 20 hexes or greater, I'm going to say it's 20 plus, 20 and above, would be a -1. Well, without jumping back, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're 9 hexes away. So we're well within range and we're not getting that modifier as well. So that's good. Any other target in different altitude band? Well, they're both at deck. Here we go then. So they're not a different altitude band, they're both at deck. -2 if the target's at deck, so there is going to be a -2. I probably could have done one on our dice, I'm not getting a line about, hang on. Right, I got something. So -2 target at deck, -3 target at deck in rough / mountain, not cumulative with deck -2, right, okay. Well, he's not in rough or mountain, so it's just the -2 he gets. And then -2 searching flight and beam arc of target. Searching flight. I think that will be the case then, yeah, because that's what John's already pointed out, that they're all at beam. And what the last one's in shaft corridor, which I don't know. I'm feeling that's when defensive manoeuvres have been. I'm not sure about that one yet. We'll get to that one. So yeah, just look in there. They're both at deck level, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 hexes away. So that's not 20 or greater as well. Doesn't get that modifier, and the target is at deck, but it's not in rough or mountain. So we've got a -2. Now, yeah, the last one is the searching flight is in the beam arc of the target. I think that is the case then. Yeah, it is. We've already decided that the beam's out to the side. I dare say that might become more clear to me as I play. It seems easier to, after looking at that a few times, because I think he's looking at that. I'm just trying to look at this and work it out. Oh no, wait. No, Grant, the forward arc. The forward arc goes right up the first spine of the... Yeah, it goes up there. Yeah, so no, sorry, C flight. So it goes right along there, and then it goes right up there. Right. So we are in the beam. So yeah, searching flight in beam. So there's another -2 to that. So we've got a -4 to this dice roll. Okay. And then, like I say, we're rolling on the last column there, which normally would be a 10 or greater, but we've got a -4. So we'll roll. We've got 16. -4 is 12. That's good enough, isn't it? Yeah. And remember, if we had failed that, we would have got 1 extra roll because of the track while scan thing. Yeah, okay, so we have detected that guy. So that's all their flights detected now. We've still got one that's not. And there we go. Okay, good stuff. Right, now on to the good stuff then. Let's see what happens. So with the roll for initiative here, yeah, it's pretty straightforward, isn't it? We really want to win this. So a 1 to 6 is NATO. 7 plus is Warsaw Pact. So let's see what we get. Oh, it's a 9. Right, so the Warsaw Pact have the initiative, and going by the solar rules, they always take the initiative. Right, okay. Let's see what's going to happen here then. Well, they could draw a 0 chit, I suppose. And then that's what we kind of want, because we want to go first, I think. At least I think we do. Right, so let's draw a chit. We're looking at the small side. So what have we got? Oh, it is a 0. It is a 0. Okay. Right, that then passes across to the NATO player then. So as long as we don't draw the 0. Right. 4 on the large side, sure, that's not a 0. 2, excellent. That's both our flights. Wow, okay, that's great. So both our flights are going to move first. And yeah, I've realised I've turned this guy going up the way though, haven't I? Which he probably wants to turn back again to have a shot, doesn't he? Yeah. Right, so here we go. So we're going to move both our flights, and obviously it's Roach is the important one. Now, yeah, we've let's bring the card in there a bit. Let's see. So we've got the AIM-7M, which is there, and we're in the target's beam. So we do need a range of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I do need to move into this hex, and then I'd be 5 away. Let's just check. So page 17, rule 11.212, BVR air-to-air combat engagement prerequisites. So a flight may not attempt to engage in BVR air-to-air combat unless it has moved at least 1 hex or changed altitude in the movement phase. Well, I've got to move 1 hex anyway to get in range, so I'm going to have moved. The engagement attempt itself costs no additional movement points. If making multiple BVR engagement attempts in a movement phase, the flight must move 1 hex or change altitude between attempts. The following conditions must also be met. Now, remember, however, that we do have an auto BVR, so we don't actually need to roll for engagement. We automatically engage. And it looks like we can engage 2 targets. However, by me moving 1 hex there, I'm going to be out of range of that one. So I'm wondering, should I move 2 hexes first and then engage both of these? Right, well, I might need to look, because it just says 2 targets. I'll need to have a look at that. However, let's see these prerequisites. The defender must be detected. That's A. The defender must be detected. So both the flights are detected. The defender must be in range of an undepleted BVR weapon. Well, like I say, once we move that 1 hex, or 2, both of them are going to be within range. If the attacker is using an infrared missile, there must be a line of sight to the enemy flight. Well, these aren't infrared missiles. These are RHM, radar homing missiles, my guess. So if they were them, we would need to have line of sight. But I think, I mean, we're in rough at deck level, and they're in clear at deck level. I don't think there would be an issue there. Anyway, however, we're not using an infrared missile, we're using a radar homing missile. And then D, BVR rules of engagement must allow the BVR engagement attempt. That's rule 11.26. However, there's more prerequisites yet. I'll come back to 11.26 then. E, look down must not prevent engagement. Some aircraft are exempt, see EDCs. Well, we know we've got no look down restrictions. I think that's right. And we've just got LD on ours, 10.23, look down. LD for aircraft with no look down restrictions, so I'm assuming that doesn't apply. If the attacker may not be in a defensive wheel formation, well, no. I'm not sure. I mean, I read about that previously, but yeah, I'm not sure we'll see much of that. G, the attacker must have the defender in its forward arc. The attacker must have the defender in its forward arc. Yeah, so we are. It's in our forward arc. That's quite clear. The attacker must not be disordered, aborted, have performed SAM avoidance, or declared anti-radar tactics in the current turn. No. And then I, all AAA or SAM attacks against the attacking flight in its current hex have been resolved. Okay. Yeah, I think if we had some AAA around about this and we moved 1 hex, then that would have to get all resolved first before we... because that could then disorder, abort, or do the other things. Okay, so we meet all the the one we needed to check was 11.26. BVR combat rules of engagement. BVR combat is permitted only when the rules of engagement allow. Random events may prevent BVR combat. We didn't get that event this time, fortunately. Otherwise, the following rules apply. If the attacker is in the defender's forward arc, or forward rear beam, we're in its forward or rear beam. I'm not sure which one, but it's in one of them. The shot is not permitted if a friendly flight is within 3 hexes of the target. Well, there's not. The only other friendly flight is here. So if we had a friendly flight round about here somewhere, we wouldn't be able to take that shot. Obviously, you're taking a shot that you might fire upon your friendly unit. If the attacker is in the defender's rear arc, the shot is not permitted if a friendly flight is within 1 hex of the target. Okay, so we meet all the prerequisites. We would then go on an engagement roll, but however, let's read that. 11.22 engagement roll. The second paragraph talks about BVR combat. If the prerequisites have been met, only the attacker makes an engagement roll. And then in brackets, exception, F-15 flights automatically pass BVR engagement rolls. 11.44 tells you there. 11.44, I'm going to read this because this might tell me about the two targets. 11.44 is on page 19. F-15 flights in BVR combat, if all prerequisites are met, they are. F-15 flights automatically succeed with any BVR engagement attempt. In addition, F-15 flights may attempt to engage 2 different enemy flights in BVR combat in the same movement phase. They may then attempt to engage either of those 2 flights. In standard air-to-air combat in that same movement phase. Okay. Right, so it looks like we can engage 2 flights. In addition, F-15 flights may attempt to engage 2 different enemy flights in BVR combat in the same movement phase. We're not going to get to standard air-to-air combat here, because Yeah, we're too far away. Well, our movement at speed is 4. We're still at combat throttle. See, again, I don't know if I should be at dash throttle when you're moving into combat here. Maybe that's a... I dare say we're going to find out when we roll on the table. I'm guessing there might be modifiers for certain things, and we're going to find out, oh, should have done this, should have done that. But that's exactly why Howard is saying play this scenario again, because you're going to see, right, okay, I should be doing that and I should be doing this. Okay. Well, let's go back to engagement roll then. Well, we don't need to roll. Engagement results. We've got success with engagement. It's not standard, so we've not got disadvantages or anything like that. So then we move into combat 11.3. I wonder if... Yeah, okay. Maneuver. For BVR combat, only the attacker rolls on the maneuver table. Alright, so maneuver is part of it. Right, hang on. Yeah, I'm jumping past things here. Hang on. Right, okay. I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to move 1, and then I'm going to move 2, and then do... Because if I'm here, I can only engage flight A, whereas if I move the second hex, I'm then within range of flight B as well. So I'm going to move the 2 hexes and then auto engage both A flight and B flight. Let's see how that works then. So now, just before we move on, I think we might need to look at the bot flight activation table. Well, yeah, hang on here. Would that not be better just moving 1 hex and then just engaging that flight first to find out what it is? Because, I mean, I can take a shot at that and then I can move another hex and also go for that guy. In fact, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah. He's within sort of range as well. Well, will we keep it simple and just move the 1 hex in? Because what I could do after that is then, that's me moved 1 movement point. 2, 3. If I moved to there, I could then engage B and D. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Right, let's do that. So I've moved 1 hex, so I'm entitled to do a BVR engagement attempt. We auto-engage because of the being a 15. So we've now, and this is a detective flight, we've got all the prerequisites, so all good. Right, what happens with the bot now? Because I think we may need to look there before we start talking. Well, we will, because we need to know what it is. It could be that this is a dummy flight, and that's that. Okay, so bot flight activation table, I think, is what we need. Generic bot flight is activated if any of the following occur. It is visually identified. Well, we're not. No, we need to be within 4 hexes to do that, so we're not within that, are we? No, we're within 5 just to get the BVR. It attempts to engage in or is successfully engaged in air-to-air combat, including BVR combat. That's where we were at, because we have successfully engaged in BVR combat. So it is now going to have to activate. Right. So I don't really need to read the next 2 bits, which is it receives an attempt, BVR, or is attacked by SAMs. Right. So a flight activation check. 1D, now hang on, there's not some special scenario rules for this. Let's check. Yeah, it's slightly different. The special scenario rule 2, when activating bot flights, maximum 1 dummy flight. A roll of 0 to 5 is a real flight. A roll of 6 to 10 is a dummy flight. Do not add negative modifiers to the activation rule, played sharp 5. And that was these modifiers here. So we don't add these. And like we say, it's a slightly different die roll. And then If it's a dummy, we remove the dummy marker. If it's a real flight, we see the scenario for flight generation instructions. So we'll come back to that. So what did I say? A roll of 0 to 5 is a real flight. Right, here we go. 4. Okay, so it's a real flight. Good. I was hoping we wouldn't just see the dummy there, but although it does mean we're going to have to find the dummy. So it's a real flight. What do we do now then? Right, here we go. Yeah, back up here. If bot flight activation check is real flight, roll for flight type. So 1 to 4 is going to be an SU-24C. 5 to 10 it's going to be a MiG-29A. So 1 to 4. We've got an 8. Oh, right, so it's a MiG then. Is that right? Yeah, 5 to 10, so it's a MiG-29A. Okay, so we take... Yeah, for use when activated. Well, that's them now activated. So flight A, we're going to take the MiG-29 counter. Well, I suppose... Yeah, well, I don't know. Is it better to have found one of them rather have got the SU-24? So I think now we switch this. Now, how is that changing its... That's going to change its suit. Does that matter? I guess that must be what happens. Because this was a diamond. It's a change into... This is the one we're meant to use anyway. Pool of... That it looks like that's how it happens. But by all means, I might have some of these things wrong. So I'm sure I'll get told in time. Oh, yeah, I was forgetting. These are at... This is at high altitude, isn't it? So I can't... Or did we get to that part yet? Yeah, we must have done. It must have been part of the requisites. No. Must be a line of sight. Yeah, we've not seen talk of altitude yet, have we? Is it just when you do standard area combat that yeah, just looking back at the standard area combat prerequisites, the defender must be within 1 hex and in the same altitude band or the band immediately below, but there was no mention of altitude regarding BVR. I'm guessing that there's going to be some negatives to us trying to fire from like way below it. You know, if we were to be trying to fire at that high one. However, this one's at low. This one's at deck as well, so we're at the same thing. So right, I think that goes away then. So now we know what that is. Pool of flight of MiG-29s, and there is 4 aircraft in that flight. So, well, we could probably bring the card out to have a look. That's what we're up against, and it's equipped with 30mm gun. It's got R. Oh no, I'm looking at the wrong. Oh no, that's right. Yeah, it's got R73s. And it's got R27s, which are BVR. Yeah, it's basically got everything that's there, isn't it? Yeah, it has. And these are the BVR ones. But BVR combat is just us at the moment. It's us firing at him. He doesn't get to fire back. It's only if we were in. That's why you want to get in there first, I think. Okay, what did I jump? I jumped back there because I was worried about altitude, but I don't think it is relevant. So, yeah, we've found out what the flight is. MiG-29s. Yeah, okay, I think we can move on. It was just I was looking at the how things happen once the flight's activated. It says step 6 after activation of MiG-29A follow close escort rules. If no Boeing flights are activated, resume close escort with closest generic flight. Yeah, we'll get to that, but they're not going to do anything now. They've just we now know what they are, so yeah, we can go on to combat accordingly. Right. So page 18, 11.3 combat. First part talks about standard air-to-air, but I'll skip by that. If BVR combat commences as a result of engagement, neither flight uses any movement points in the combat. The moving flight's movement is paused while resolving the BVR combat. Right, so we've moved one movement point. We've still got 3 movement points left. So 11.31 manoeuvre, and again it starts talking about standard, but I'll skip by that for now. For BVR combat, only the attacker rolls on the manoeuvre table using the BVR column on the table. Apply only the modifiers listed on the BVR combat manoeuvre table and cross-reference the final roll with the column for the number of non-damaged aircraft in the attacking flight. The value obtained from the manoeuvre table is the number of shot opportunities the flight has. Shot opportunities are resolved using the shot resolution system, 11.33. If a flight has no air-to-air weapons, it may not roll for the manoeuvre or take shots at enemy flights. Right, so manoeuvre table. Okay, try to squeeze things in here. Here is the manoeuvre table then. So roll on the table using the column for the number of undamaged aircraft in the flight. Use the one column if flight is in defensive wheel or disordered, or the unit is making multiple attacks. 11.51 is that? That's advanced combat rules. Multiple attacks. I think we'll just skip by that bit because it is an advanced thing. Now you've got slash attacks as well. These are both advanced combat rules. I think we'll just leave these out for now, but please let me know if I should be using them. It is only the 2 sort of rules, so it might not be much to add. But let me know if it's kind of important to probably put them in. But we'll just skip by them just now. Now, manoeuvre table. Well, we've got a manoeuvre number on the card, haven't we? Or is that not number of aircraft? Dice. Oh, not sure what I'm doing here. Hang on. Right, okay, I think I've realised where I'm trying to fit everything in here and look at everything. Honestly. That much stuff. Yeah, I think I was wondering about these numbers, these manoeuvre numbers, which is these numbers here, depending on your altitude. But that looks like that's just for standard air-to-air combat manoeuvre table modifiers, which is a plus question mark, manoeuvre differential, subtract the enemy manoeuvre rating from the flight's manoeuvre rating, not applicable at night. So, I know we're not doing that, but just to show you, so subtract the enemy from the flight. So we're at deck, so that's a +8, and that's a +7. So 7 away from 8, so there would be a +1 modifier there. That would be that manoeuvre differential, I think. But that doesn't look like that applies in BVR. Yeah, I suppose, because like I say, they're not getting to do anything. We're just getting to fire at them, and that's that. So there's the BVR combat manoeuvre table modifiers. Use BVR column of the manoeuvre table and apply only these DRM. Okay. And Yeah, and the other thing, just jumping back here, number of aircraft. Well, we know there's 4 aircraft in the MiG flight. The MiG-29 pool of flight. However, we've got this Soviet doctrine which says wartime pact flights with 1 or 2 aircraft use the 1 column when attacking in air-to-air combat, including BVR. Wartime pact flights with 3 or 4 aircraft use a 2 column. Now, so that would tell you that use that instead of the 4. However, this restriction does not apply to wartime pact flights on the defence. Okay. Or MiG-29 Su-27 flights. Alright, okay, so wouldn't matter if they were, because they'd be on the defence anyway. Okay. Is that right? Are they on the defence right now? Or does that mean just in standard air-to-air combat? Ooh, yeah, I'm not sure about that one then. If we were in BVR combat right now, guys, and it wasn't a MiG-29 or an Su-27, would this restriction not apply because they're on the defence? Or would that only be if it was standard air-to-air combat and they were defending? Would that just not apply? Or would it apply still? And bear in mind, obviously, I'm talking about if it wasn't a MiG-29 or an Su-27. If it was the Su-24, say, that we were attacking right now, would they be restricted to that doctrine or not? Okay. But we're going to, because of MiG-29s anyway, we ignore that. So we are looking at the 4 column. So, and this is the dice roll that we're looking for to decide how many. The result is a number of shot opportunities. And then I'll subtract 1 if a slash attack that does not achieve surprise. That's one of the advanced rules that we've just decided we're not going to deal with at the moment. So here's the modifiers. So -1 per altitude band difference between attacker and defender. Well, there you go right away. So, as I was saying, that there's not a restriction to, if I did want to fire at high, if I did want to fire up at the high flight, there would be if from deck you'd have low, medium, and then high. So you'd have a -3 there right away. However, we are firing from deck to deck, so there's not a modifier there. Defender at low altitude, excluding no modification if attacker is same or lower. Okay. Defender at deck altitude, which he is, so there would be a -2 there. However, no modifier if attacker is at deck, and we are as well, so that doesn't apply as well. Defender at very high altitude would be a -2. No. Defender attacked from rear arc, and it says not applicable for infrared missile. Well, we're firing a radar homing missile, so that is applicable. Defender attacked from rear arc. No, it might be the rear beam, but that rear arc is a different one, isn't it? Yeah, rear arc's right behind them. Defender attacked from rear arc. No. You would have kind of thought that was better, would you not? No. Defender attacked from rear arc. Okay. Defender attacked from beam or undefensive wheel. Well, that one does apply then, I think, because we are attacking from. Yeah, it must be from its beam. Yeah, because defender attack from rear would mean that we can't fire from behind. So it must be the defender attacked from its rear arc. Yeah, defender attacked from its beam. Yes, so there's a -1 there. +2, defender attacked from forward arc. Okay. So that's not the case. You can see we would have got a +2 there. So again, another reason to come head on. And then plus ? Attacking flight's aggression value. Where does it tell you that then? Maybe in the setup thing. I get the feeling we were a 0 and they were a 1. Aggression value. Come on, where are you? Yeah, there we go. Yeah, it's in the order of battle. So the F-15s have an aggression value of 0. The MiG-29s have an aggression value of 1, and the Su-24s have an aggression value of 1. So, but it only talks about the attacker. Attacking flight's aggression value is 0. So in total, we've got a -1 because we're attacking from the beam, right? So we're rolling, and we're rolling. There's 4 aircraft in the flight. Hang on. Rolling the table using the column for the number of undamaged aircraft in the flight. Is it the number of flights in the defending? Yeah, it must be. Yeah, it must be the number of flights, number of aircraft in the defending flight, surely. Not the number of flights. I mean, we've got 2 aircraft in our flight. It's not that though, is it? No, I'm pretty sure it's the defending flight. I think that would, yeah, it sounds like that makes no sense. Right, let's roll. So we're looking for high numbers, aren't we? Well, yeah, no, we are. Because the higher we get, the result is the number of shot opportunities. So yeah, we want high. We're getting a -1 to this roll. 14, not too bad. So 14 minus 1 is 13. So 13 to 16. Oh yeah, you can see. Yeah, you need to get quite high. Well, 17 or... Oh! I'm only going to get a maximum of 3 anyway, haven't I? So that's a BVR. Obviously, you can see the standard air-to-air looks as different. So we got 13 anyway. So we've got 2 shot opportunities. Yeah, good. Okay. Right, so we've got 2 shot opportunities. There's 11.33 now, shot resolution. Consult the shot resolution table. That's further down here. There we go. To resolve a flight's shot, select an air-to-air weapon to shoot with. Roll 2 dice and modify based on the weapon's air-to-air combat rating and whether or not the flight has 1 or more additional undepleted air-to-air weapons. Does not apply to BVR combat shots. Yeah, I think you can add, like, you could use your gun. If you were in standard air-to-air combat, I think you could use a weapon and use your guns as well, and it gives you an extra modifier or something, I want to say. But that doesn't apply in BVR. Shots are resolved in any order as determined by the players allocate and apply damage. After all shots have been rolled, a player may refuse to roll for a shot if desired. So what we're looking at here then. Select an undepleted weapon to shoot with. Then roll 2 dice. Apply modifiers and consult the table below. Well, we're shooting with our radar homing missile, our AIM-7Ms. Well, we're firing an AIM-7M missile. Yeah, shots are resolved in any order as determined. Okay, and the modifiers there are question mark is combat value of selected weapon. Okay. Yeah. Okay. This is I want to say this is the AIM-7M. There's a +3 there. The one in brackets is the amount of weapons, and there's a +2 there though. I think it's a +3, but hang on. Right, yeah, wasn't sure there at first, but here we go. Just going back to this chart again. Yeah, we've got rating standard and rating BVR, and I wasn't quite sure. Well, when I seen rating standard, I didn't really click until I said rating BVR. So obviously, this is the value AIM-7M. You would get a 3 if you were in standard air combat and a 2 for BVR. So, and yeah, clearly it's in the right place, isn't it? Because we've got the +2 is in yellow beside the range, the BVR ranges, and the +3 is up there. However, the 3 still applies to both. How many? That's a depletion number, isn't it? So we've got a +2 there. So yeah, we got +2 there, and then +1. Flight has one or more additional undepleted weapons. Yeah, that's if you're going to use another weapon, but not applicable to BVR. So we've got a +2 to this die roll, and we get 2 of these, don't we? Because we've got 2 shots. Yeah, because we had 2 shots, didn't we? Shot resolution was 2. Shots are resolved in any order. So I do this twice, don't I? Yeah, I do this twice. Okay, so the first one is 15 plus 2 is 17. Ooh, 1 aircraft shot down. Excellent. So we've got 1 aircraft shot down, and we get another shot. We've got 14 plus 2 is 16. 1 aircraft shot down. Excellent. So our results are two of these, 1 aircraft shot down. However, I seem to recall that we could now roll and find that we shot the same aircraft down twice, but possibly. Okay, so it then moves on to ammo depletion. After all shots in a combat have been resolved, do we do that before the damage? After rolling for ammo depletion, follow the steps as applicable under damage allocation. Oh yeah, it's a separate part. Okay, well we need to do the depletion of the ammo first. After all shots have been resolved, roll 1 die for each flight that resolved a shot. There's 1 flight. Roll per flight that took a shot, not per shot taken. If a flight resolved multiple shots, subtract 1 from the roll for each shot after the first. Yeah, so we've got a -1 for the extra shot that we took. And look up the depletion number, right? Roll 1 die, okay. So we're rolling 1 die, and I think there's a -1 modifier to this because there's not a wee table for that, is there? No, I don't think so. So we're rolling 1 dice. We fired 2 missiles. So we get a -1 for the one above the one that we shot, and our depletion number is 3. So let's roll. Oh, we've rolled a 3. So -1, that's a 2. I think that's bad. Roll per flight that took a shot. If a flight resolved multiple shots, subtract 1 from the roll for each shot after the first. Yeah, so the result is a 2. There's a 3 -1 is a 2. Look up the depletion number of the chosen weapon, which is a 3. If the result is equal to or less than the depletion number, yeah, that weapon is depleted and can no longer be used by that flight in combat. Exception, we could refuel and rearm. If the modified result is 1 or less, a second weapon, if the flight has one, is also depleted. No, we had a 2. The one employer may choose. For BVR combat, only the BVR weapon used can deplete. No other weapons deplete. Okay. Oh well, good news and bad news. We've got a great result with the shots, but we've depleted our AIM-7Ms. So what I need to do there is I've got markers there that I've not even done anything with. But I think now is the time where we need to come in here, and because we're going to mark off some sort of bad glare there. F15, yeah. So I'm going to have to score off the RHM AIM-7Ms on. Is it Roach? Yeah, Roach. So I'm going to have to mark that off there. And we'll also be marking off a fuel point here because we're in combat as well. Okay, right, I'll come back to that. I'll make sure to do that. So let's move on to the damage allocation then and post-combat procedures. Yeah, Okay. Right, so this is on the other side of the combat but table there. Damage allocation 12.1. So this is on page 20. 12.0 air unit damage. 12.1 damage allocation. Randomly allocate damaged, crippled, shot down aircraft results from AA, SAM, or air-to-air combat among the aircraft in a flight by rolling a die on the damage allocation table. For each damaged, crippled, shot down result, cross-referencing the total number of aircraft in the flight. If there are multiple results from one combat to apply and a shot down result is rolled, continue to roll in the original column for all results from that combat. Right, okay. So we're going to roll one die, and the number of aircraft at the start of this combat attack is 4. Yeah, so I'm going to roll in the 4 column at the end there. And the die result's going to be here. And there's no modifiers. Okay, and I've got 2 shot down results. So we're looking to see which flight gets shot down. Rolled an 8. So it's flight 4. 8. Flight 4. And what that means is there's more marking off to do on this. I'll need to find my pens now. So we'll pull off flight 4 there. He's going to be marked off with an X or just marked in there. He's gone. He's been shot down. And then we now roll for the second shot. However, we still roll in this column because it says the result is the number of affected aircraft. Yeah, no, it's well, it said in the rulebook there. If there are multiple results from one combat to apply and a shot down result is rolled, continue to roll in the original column. So if I roll an 8 here again, or a 9 or a 10 for that matter, it'll still be the one. It'll just be flight 4 that shot down aircraft 4. I rolled a 6. Good. Didn't want to do that. So C3, and result is the number of affected aircraft. If result is C, allocate result to a crippled aircraft in the flight instead. Attacker's choice. Okay, but there's no crippled aircraft. So flight 3 and aircraft 3 and 4 are both shot down. So that was really good. Yeah, so these 2 are gone. So only leaves 2 more aircraft in their flight. Yeah, because just to confirm, it says at the end of it, if a shot down aircraft receives another shot down, damaged or crippled result from the same combat, ignore that damaged, crippled or shot down result. So the shot down aircraft in effect absorbs multiple damage results in this combat. Okay. If a flight loses one or more aircraft in a combat and subsequent combats, renumber the remaining aircraft so the flight conforms to the appropriate column of the damage allocation table. Okay, shot down aircraft 12.23. Shot down aircraft are removed from the flight. If all the aircraft in the flight are shot down, the flight is eliminated. The flight's remaining air-to-ground ordnance is adjusted to reflect the loss of the aircraft. 16.22. Shot down aircraft may generate bailed out crew members. 26.1. Well, they didn't have air to ground. Not quite sure what that means. 16.22. Hang on. Yeah, not sure. 16.22. Shot down aircraft. When a flight loses an aircraft due to a shot down result, adjust the flight log's log sheet to reflect the loss of the shot down aircraft's air to ground ordnance. Okay, maybe someone can explain that one. I know it's not applicable here because the MiG-29s don't have any air to ground, but I'm not quite sure. Maybe that will become clear when we move on to the air to ground, the bombers. Yeah, and the other one there, what was that? 26.1, right. This is for bailing out. Right, so I think we need to do a bailout check here for the two flights that are, the two aircraft that were shot down. So this is 26.1 on page 43. If an aircraft is shot down, roll a die for each crew member. On a roll of 4 or less, a crew member fails to survive. So let's roll for flight 3, aircraft 3. He's rolled a 10, so he's fine. And then the other one, flight 4, rolled an 8. So they're both on a 5 or more, the crew member bails out and a parachute marker is placed on the map. Place a marker in the same hex as the flight of the lost aircraft. If the flight is on a hex side when lost, place a marker in either hex, owner player's choice. If the bailout roll is a 10, actually did I not roll a 10? A 10 and an 8. I think I did roll a 10 for the first one. The crew member flies some distance before bailing out. Roll one die and move the marker that number of hexes away from the flight equal to the roll. The owner player chooses a specific hex. Oh, okay, well this is an AI choice, so I'm not really sure this bailout part really matters anyway, does it? I don't see anything in the instructions regarding the light and the source. This scenario special rules regarding bailout, but I'm not that sure it matters here. It says the final hex occupied by the parachute marker is the hex the crew lands in. It takes a number of game turns before the parachute and crew lands in the hex. Bailouts from deck altitude land the same turn. Okay. After the required number of turns, flip the marker to the crew side in the admin phase. Once landed, crew markers never move and are removed from the map only via rescue or capture. 26.11 automatic rescue capture. If the crew marker lands on the friendly side of the front, rescue by friendly forces is automatic. If the crew marker lands on the enemy side of the front, they're going to be on the enemy side of the front, aren't they? Yep. And is in an urban road or airfield hex or a hex occupied by an enemy ground ASAM unit is immediately captured and the marker is removed from play. Yeah, don't know if we need to bother with this at all, do we? I get the feeling we don't need to bother about this. With this scenario, whether some of the later scenarios might, yeah, because 26.2 is simple CSAR. What does that stand for? CSAR, oh that's the actual heading of the rule. 26.0 CSAR. The CSAR rules model combat search and rescue missions. Ah, okay. Players must agree whether to use the simple or the detail rules. So it's only relevant if we're doing a combat search and rescue mission, I think. I'm going to leave that out. I get the feeling you just ignore that. Let me know if I've got that wrong. And we might, however, see that in a further scenario, possibly. So I won't bother with parachute markers or anything like that. Okay. Okay, so I marked on the... I found my pens eventually. So, yeah, it's not very clear. These are like glossy, aren't they? Well, that's the whole point of these. You can see flights 3 and 4 there of pool of the aircraft 3 and 4, they're marked out. And then also our F-15, RHM, AIM-7M weapons are out. Alright, sorry. I had to answer the door there. Yeah, so I marked off the weapons for the F-15 and the two aircraft that were destroyed, and we've got fuel to mark up, but I'll leave that just now because I think that's going to tell me about that shortly. This week is an hour and a half. my. I'm enjoying myself, so I suppose there's that. Okay, post-combat procedures, I think. Yeah. So, following damage allocation standard area, right, it's not BVR then, I think we're moving on to that part. So this is rule 13 on page 21. Second part talks about BVR. Following BVR combat shot resolution, including ammo depletion check and damage allocation, if any, which we've all done. Regardless of the results, the defending flight only performs the following actions in order. If any BVR shots occurred, conduct a morale check, 13.1, on the BVR column. Okay. Right, that's on that same page. Morale check, BVR. Okay. Right, let's roll. Is that a 2 dice roll then? Must be. Some modifiers there, look at. Modifiers, aggression value, had surprise. No, that's only if it was air-to-air. Disadvantage, same, that's only air-to-air. Per enemy aircraft damage shot down. So that would be a +2. Per friendly aircraft damage shot down, there's none of that. Flight is disengaging, 1.41. I don't think that applies. Yeah, that's just standard air-to-air combat, disengaging, so that doesn't apply. Aggression value, ooh, that's going to be a plus. Is a higher number better here for them? BVR combat. Well, yeah, greater than 15 would be no effect. So that does make sense. So they've got a +1. Their aggression value is a +1. And they got 2 enemy aircraft shot down. So they've got a +3. They've got a +3 on this. And they've rolled, a big 19. So +3 is 22. So yeah, they are on the BVR combat. They're greater than 15, so there's going to be no effect to them there. You can see, well, what we would like to think is disordered or maybe abort. It gives you an explanation of them there. Disordered, Jason check is above, adjust aggression level, aggression value. Abort, jettison check is above and adjust aggression value is indicated. Flight aborts, 8.4. Well, that would need to be quite a low roll, wouldn't it? Less than 2 for abort. Yeah, so anyway, there was no effect. So there's no effect to the morale check. And then the next step in the post-combat is place disordered or abort markers depending on morale check. Well, nothing happened in that. Roll for bailouts for any shot down defending aircraft. Well, we already looked at that and decided that it probably wasn't relevant. Again, somebody can tell me if it does need to be done. I get the impression it's only for certain missions. Damaged or crippled aircraft, jettison ordnance. Well, there was none of that. We shot them down. These procedures take place immediately before any other movement or combat action is performed. Morale checks. Well, we've just been through all that, haven't we? Roll 2 dice. Yeah, we've done that. Scatter only happens in standard air-to-air. Following a standard air-to-air combat, all participating flights immediately become undetected. Flights participating in BVR combat do not change detection status. Okay, I think that's it. That's it. Okay. Because I want to try and get this wrapped up. We're closing in on, 2 hours. And we've only shot a couple of missiles. However, we've got a shot off at least. Now, he's only moved 1. Right, so I'm assuming I can't move and fire at him again. Oh, in fact, what happens now? What happens with me now? Is that me? I've still got movement points, or does that end my movement? I think, do I not remember reading that then? No, that can't be right, surely. Right, I'm not sure what happens. Hang on. yeah, I think things still carry on. I mean, it says if PVR combat commences as a result of engagement, neither flight uses any movement points in the combat. The moving flight's movement is paused while resolving the BVR combat. I mean, the bad thing is that we've depleted our AIM-7Ms. So, what was the other weapon that we had? The AIM-9M has a range 211, so that's not really so good. So we've only moved 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, hang on, we can actually get 2, 3, 4. We could get to there and be 2 away from that. I don't know if we can fire at that again. Well, hang on, 211. We'd be in its beam, so we'd need to be a 1 hex away. The range would be 1, wouldn't it? Yeah, it's the AIM-9M. It's that one there. So the range would only be a 1. I'd need to be adjacent to it. So I'm not really sure what I should do. Probably should maybe I shouldn't have been moving in closer. Maybe I should be running away or something. I don't know. Well, we don't really know. Like I say, I'm a bit unclear. If I hadn't depleted my weapons, right? Could I move my second movement point now and then engage this flight again and fire at it again? Because there's still 2 aircraft in it. Can I do that? Or have I had my shot at that and would I need to target a different flight? I mean, I'd be in range of this one now by moving there. I could fire at that. I kind of feel like I can still fire at that flight again because there's still aircraft in it. So not sure if I'm missing something there or not, but let me know. But I know I'm out of my AIM-7Ms, which are the ones that have the range of 5 at beam. So I know I can't do that. So, well, that's movement 2. Well, yeah, you can't just stop your movement, can you? You've got to use that 4 movement up. You know, you're a fast-moving plane. Well, let's just move into them, right? So 2, 3, 4. Let's just get bold and let's see what happens. Like Howard said, probably need to play it more than once. So I'm just going to move up to there and stay at deck level, I guess. Well, yeah, that's true. I could climb. Yeah, let's not quite do that. Let's do. So that was 2, 3, 4. Right. So I was there at deck level. Let's move into there for 2, and let's go to low altitude for 3. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm not really sure if this is all stupid or not. And then I'll move into there for my final movement point. So I've moved up a level, up to low. Yeah, okay. But yeah, I'm sure these guys could clarify if I still had their weapons. Could I have just moved 1 more and kept firing at that until I was depleted? I suppose I don't see why not. Yeah. I suppose that was the downside to my die roll, was depleting the weapons, where I've been able to, I might have been able to have a shot at that guy as well. Although remember, he's at high altitude, so the chances there get a bit worse. Right, okay, let's get this part finished. Oh, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my other flight. Thing is, I think I can have a shot with them as well, can't I? If I turn. I can't turn to start with. I'm at deck altitude. So I'm going to move 1, and then free turn of 60 degrees. Right, hang on, Grant. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I can get in range of both of them. Right, the match turn marker comes off anyway, and I get to. I can't turn straight away, so I'm going to go 1, obviously. Have I moved that guy too close? Because if it's within 3, I can't. If the attackers and the defenders, no. If the attacker is in defender's forward arc or forward beam, the shot is not permitted if a friendly flight is within 3 hexes of the target. So I moved within 3. Well, you know what? I'm not within 3 of that one. Can I have a go at that? So that was 1. 30-degree turn. I'm going to go up the spine. 2. I'm not gonna be able to get to it, am I? Or could I fire? That's 1. 3 turn. 2, 3, 4. And then fire. Yeah, I think so. I think I can do that. So 1, 3 turn. 2, 3, 4, and then 3 turn. The 3 turn puts me in the hex, I think. If that's right. I seem to recall. 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I've stayed at deck altitude, which is not clever then. But then I won't be able to get into range. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to get into range if I do that. Or Jenk, maybe I should play it safer. Plus the fact this is an hour and 45 minutes long. Okay, I'm gonna. Yeah, I think I'll back up 1 hex and move him up to O, I think. Rather than get. Yeah, okay. Right, let's do that. So that's my movement over. And that's me moved both my flights. So now, well, I don't need to draw a chart for the Soviets. Sorry for the Warsaw Pact. But I better cut this video because it's getting like ridiculously long. So I think I'll just leave it there. And I can have a wee review back of that and hopefully get it uploaded shortly. And then we can move on. Yeah, I said things were going to start getting a bit quicker, but that seemed to take a long time. But it's just the way I do things, isn't it? Like, I want to be careful about it. And yeah, you could see once you've done that once, if I was to move in and fight there again, it'd probably be all fresh in my mind and I'd be able to do it quicker. So fingers crossed it's going to go that way. But like I say, I'm enjoying it. So while I'm enjoying it, that's fine. That's all good. So probably some daft moves there, but it looked like we got a decent result. We shot two MiGs down. Unfortunately, Roach, he's lost his weapons. So not so good. Well, he's good weapons. He's still got his gun and he's still got the infrared missiles, but we need to get in a bit closer with them. Okay, right, I'll leave that for now like that, and we'll come back to the Warsaw Pact. You know what I'll do, just to remind myself, there are 4 in there. Well, there'll be a 4 small, is there? I wouldn't have thought so. Right, well, I'll remember, it's the Warsaw Pact's initiative. We've moved all our flights, so they're going to get to move all their 4 flights. And we're going to see the bot now reacting to what's happened, because both these flights, well, this is a detected flight within 7, so they're all going to start doing something different now. So it's going to be interesting as well. Right, I'll get away for now and might get back later today, but I I do have time off, but I suppose this time of year there's a lot of things going on, and holiday period, holiday time, Christmas and all that. So I'm not sure I'm going to get as much time as I'd hope, but because I've not really got much work on, but there's other things happening that obviously is going to restrict me a bit. But hopefully I can get this looked at and get this up for something new for you to look at, and you can let me know where I'm getting things wrong and whatever. Okay, well, I'll be back soon. Okay, cheers.